Right, it's not lost on me how beautiful it is while we give an update about how prepared we are for bad weather. But of course in Kansas this could change on a dime. So thank you for joining us today. It's good to be outside. We do have beautiful weather, and however last week we broke records by having winter weather early. And although it was nice out today, living in Kansas means that later on this week we could be under a foot of snow for all we know. So with that, we want to give you an update on our how prepared we are for the roads if or when we get some snow weather. So our staff prepares snow and ice season in several different ways: by ordering salt and sand materials and stocking our reserves, by training employees to safely and effectively operate snowplows, which our fleet is behind us, or behind me here, by doing regular maintenance on the snowplow fleet, and many other behind the scene activities. Oh look, Cake News decided to show up. Hey guys.
Hey.
Actually, you're right, I'm about 3 minutes early, aren't I? So I'll make more jokes about Kansas weather as you set up. All right, let's get back talking about our 17,500 tons of salt that we have in our reserve. So as we enter the winter, we have roughly 6 tons of salt and sand mix on hand. And we have in our reserve, again, 17,500 tons of salt in our reserves. Even after last week's winter weather response, we are better prepared this year than ever before thanks to our new storage facility. More than 160 staff have been trained and are ready to deploy up to 60 snowplows to designate routes depending on conditions. When the winter weather does hit the streets are treated by priority. So contrary to the Facebook posts I get, we don't just do the streets around the mayor's house. We actually have a pretty logical method to this. We have over 5,000 lane miles of limited resources, and it's impossible to effectively treat all of our city streets. So instead we focus first on the 1,500 lane miles of emergency routes in major roadways. We pay special attention to traffic routes serving hospitals, emergency facilities, and public schools. That is our top priority. Then the next priority is we focus on the remaining and secondary roads and residential streets to access schools. We also account for, which this also accounts for another 300 lane miles. So just as a reminder, the city of Wichita does not maintain federal, state roadways like Kellogg, K96, I-135, I-235, and the vast majority of the freeways that take us throughout Wichita. On average, we use about 500 tons of salt and sand mix per event, but that of course depends on the type and the amount of snow we are expected to have, and how cold the temperatures are, if we're expecting ice or not, and how long the event is expected to last. So I want to commend Alan King for his dedicated team for working long hours to keep our streets safe. And if he was here, I would point him out and have him come up here and talk to us, but maybe he's lost on getting here as well. So with that, I do want to say that unfortunately due to COVID, we will not be granting media rides. I guess every year we let you guys ride along with the snowplows, but we can't do that this year because of COVID. So I guess you have to use last year's footage, which is a bummer. But as we encounter winter weather this season, you can follow along with the city's Twitter for updates. So if you're not following us on social media, please do so, and we can keep you up to date. With that, I can open up to questions, but again, I can't get too technical because we don't have Alan King here. But
I'm here for any questions.
Oh, this whole time, and I'm ragging on Alan King, but we do have a representative from the department, so please don't tell him I said that about him. So we do have someone who follows this and obviously can answer the technical questions that I might not be able to.
And did you say new storage facilities, or like brand new, or a different location?
New to me, but I think it's brand new, or pretty close to it. So why don't we have
Video that.
someone who can, let me make sure I got my mask, someone who can come up and chat with us a little more about the new facility. Here we go.
Yeah, so it is a brand new facility. It was completed earlier this year, February, March, around that time. And so then we worked hard over the summer to get it fully stocked, and it's now holding 10,000 tons of salt in reserve there in case we have any supply issues over the winter season.
What's the location? Where's that at?
That's at our west substation. It's 3801 West 3rd Street. So just west of 235 and south of Central.
Okay, so it's just like a brand new building or something?
Yeah, and you can see it from 235. It's a good sized building.
How do you have an amount? What amount of? How much did it cost to create the new facility?
I don't have an exact number for you, but it was right around $900,000.
And what does that include? Does it include a building similar to this to store salt, and what does it include?
Yeah, it is a building to store salt. That's basically its only function. It's not a dome like this. It's more of a traditional rectangular building, but it'll hold a lot of salt, and we're very happy to have it.
Does it provide some advantages to have it there as opposed to trying to incorporate it in this facility here?
Yeah, probably the biggest advantage was we had space there to put it, so it worked out really well. We hope to someday maybe have another one at our northeast substation, and we'll see how that goes.
How many spots in total do you have where they store the salt?
We have 3 of these. They hold 2,000 each, 2,000 tons each, and we have one at each of our 3 facilities. This one, the central maintenance facility. We have one at the west substation where the new building is, and we have one at the northeast substation. And then we have a secondary reserve storage facility at 1234 North Wellington. It's kind of been it's a repurposed building, if you will, that the city had anyway. So we're using it right now for some additional salt storage capacity, and that's where we come up with the 17,500 tons of salt, is those 2 facilities combined.
So with this new facility, I mean, it relieves a lot of stress from you guys, because these are only like 2,000.
Right, absolutely it does. Yeah, and those are really there just, for contingency as much as anything. We're going to use our supply and resupply as much as we can throughout the season. But in the event that we have supply issues, we can go to those reserve facilities and keep going. And they give us the ability to make 35,000 tons of the 50/50 salt mix that we typically use on the streets. So.
Have you guys been in a situation where you run out in the past?
We have not been in a situation where we've completely run out, but we did have a few years ago some supply issues. It was a nationwide supply issue, so that in particular really got us thinking about the need for additional capacity.
And can you explain how you guys determine what materials to use to treat the streets? Some people complain that they didn't do it earlier. However, sometimes it rains, and I understand if it rains, we shouldn't use certain materials. Can you explain your thinking behind what you use? Sure.
Well, we do have the ability to pre-treat with brine, which is a 23% salt solution. And we have about 20,000 gallons at each of those 3 facilities that are ready to go. And we like to do that when we can, depending on the conditions. But when we have events that are likely to be preceded by rain, we do not apply it, because if it rains, it's just going to be washed off, and we don't necessarily want to waste those resources.
Do you anticipate that the current supply you have of about 17,000, is that what you have on hand right now?
We have 6,000 tons of mix on hand right now, essentially, and then we have the 17,500 tons of salt in reserve.
Do you anticipate that will last throughout the season based on averages or your current projections?
Yeah, I mean, based on a typical year, we would expect it to. But like I said, we're not going to stop ordering. We're still going to reorder as much as we can, and we'd like to just have that 17,500 in reserve. After the event that we just had, the early event, we did place orders, and we are receiving that material, mixing it up, and we'll be fully stocked and ready to go for the next round.
And that's probably mainly because of supply chain concerns, to make sure that you get things replaced in a timely fashion to the best degree that the supply chain can.
Exactly, yes. We're very lucky to be very near salt mines where we are, but those salt mines serve people, nationwide. So we're competing against a lot of folks, and they get into situations sometimes where they basically have to ration that salt. So they can only bring it out of that mine so fast.
Where do you bring your supplies from? Hutchinson?
Yeah, our primary supplier is Hutch Salt. Yeah, out of Hutchinson. Yes.
Can we have you say and spell your name for us?
Yeah, it's Aaron Henning, AARONHENNING, and I'm with Public Works and Utilities.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, are there any other questions? Really glad Aaron's here. I'm not sure I would know all the details of that, so thank you for being here, sir.
My pleasure.
And thank you all for being here and be willing to give an update on how we're preparing for the winter months. Thank you.